Afternoon or good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. Welcome to another Talknologies powered by AI Nanotech, a program focused on developing technological and scientific entrepreneurship. It is my pleasure today to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Luís Paulo Reis, a very well-known voice in the field of artificial intelligence. Thank you so much for having accepted our invitation. We're very interested in finding out from your view how artificial intelligence is currently perceived in Portugal, because we tend to be very modest and conservative in marketing our potential. How confident should we feel about AI in Portugal at the moment?
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. And I believe that I'm pretty confident about the AI in Portugal in general. We have been discussing a Portuguese strategy for artificial intelligence that has been discussed with all the scientific community in Portugal. It's a large scientific community with companies that are willing to bet on AI and to really do research on AI, and with the governments. Our Portuguese Society for Artificial Intelligence has a growing community and is very active. And we have lots of very interesting initiatives in Portugal. For example, we just created the largest associate laboratory in Portugal in the subject of intelligent system. It's called exactly Intelligent Systems Associated Laboratory. It includes more than 400 researchers with a PhD. And it's a big laboratory, 13 national laboratories, LIAAC, my own laboratory, but also other laboratories, Central Algorithm, 2 laboratories in Coimbra, 2 laboratories in Lisbon, 2 in Aveiro, 1 in Barcelos, 4 in Porto. So a very big association to be capable of doing large projects on AI. And also our government and public administration in general is largely concerned with artificial intelligence and has been promoting the use of artificial intelligence for public administration. And I believe in the future this will be a lot more promoted and more used. And so I'm pretty confident about the capability of Portuguese community of artificial intelligence.
So that means that Portugal is ready.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so what role has academia and other organizations in Portugal been playing in order to prepare a highly qualified workforce to meet the challenges of this anticipated future where AI is shaping so many other forms of technology, and how can it potentially improve our lives?
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the problems is to, on one side, to be able, our universities and our polytechnical institutes to create or to be able to bring to the market human resources on artificial intelligence. We really have very good research laboratories. We have very large projects, European projects, done by those research laboratories and by Portuguese companies. But we really need human resources. One of the interesting initiatives, I was on the head of that, together with my colleague Alípio Jorge in the University of Porto. We just created the first licenciatura, or Bachelor of Science in Artificial Intelligence. It's called Licenciatura em Inteligência Artificial e Ciências de Dados, Bachelor of Science in Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. And the interesting thing is that it's a new degree, and it got the 5th higher grade on all the degrees in Portugal that are about 100 in informatics engineering and electrotechnical engineering in general. In the second phase of our national contest for the universities, it got a higher degree with 18.65. So the students are interested in studying AI. We need to create more interesting degrees, because one of the problems again in Portugal is that we have a large number of vacancies in universities for informatics engineering, electrotechnical engineering. In fact, 10% of our vacancies in the universities and polytechnical institutes are from that area. But the problem is that students don't want to go to informatics engineering. They want to go to the top universities that have very high grades. But in fact, 1/3 of the vacancies are still free for those areas. 1/3 of the global vacancies that are free in Portugal are vacancies for studying informatics engineering or electrotechnical engineering. And another problem is with females in general, female students. It's very difficult to attract female students to study informatics engineering in general. That's a global problem, but in Portugal is really a big problem, because if we could attract more female students, probably all those vacancies will be filled.
And what do you think could be done to promote that kind of future expectation, for example, among women researchers? Because currently we also know that there's a lot of very, very good work being done by women in Portugal, women in technology. How do you think we could further promote this sort of initiative to attract more women to these fields of knowledge?
Probably exactly with initiatives of creating new degrees that are degrees for the future, like, for example, Bachelor of Science in Artificial Intelligence. We also created new Master of Science in Data Science Engineering. We are creating a new master degree on Artificial Intelligence. We are planning to create master degrees in robotics, for example. But if we can go behind informatics engineering, electrotechnical engineering, traditional degrees, and create new degrees, we can attract more females. Our degree in artificial intelligence has about 1/3 of females, so compared with 15% of normal informatics engineering degrees. So it's a good way of attracting also female students.
Would you say that this then is one of the biggest challenges for AI in Portugal, is actually attracting people to develop their skills in this field?
Exactly, because companies, and that's one of the problems, because human resources is probably the biggest problem, because we need to keep talent. But the problem is that big AI companies are hiring the best talent, goes to Google DeepMind, goes to Microsoft, to other very big companies. My PhD students, before they finish the PhD, they are being challenged by big companies to go there. In some countries, entire departments from the university are hired by a big company or a big bank that wants to just use AI on financial services, on Switzerland, on the US, on UK. And that's really a big problem, because we need to have more students on the universities in order to be able to get them to the market, because the market needs really human resources on artificial intelligence.
So we could actually see the challenges or some concerns regarding the developments of artificial intelligence from two perspectives. More generally, as a field of interest, a global field of interest. So how will this impact or what are your greatest concerns regarding the overall developments of AI? And then in the case of competitiveness in Portugal, the fact that we don't have enough people who are actually wanting to pursue that field, would you say that this is another concern regarding the developments of AI?
Well, I have a large number of concerns. I think we could be here all afternoon speaking about that, but I'll try to summarize some of my concerns. One of the concerns is not my biggest concern, but lots of people have the concern, is unemployment. What happens if AI and digital systems take all the jobs, automate jobs, for example, in driving. It currently employs millions of people, but we are going to have self-driving cars, self-driving trucks. They're promised by several companies. They are already in place. Okay, what happens? In fact, we are going to have a lower risk of accidents. We are going to use a lot better our roads because we can have 4 times the number of cars on the roads. Parking is solved because the car can go alone, park in another place, and can leave us exactly. Our children, for example, the car can take the children to school and come back. So we'll have lots of problems solved. And in fact, well, that's a lot better than don't have self-driving cars. Okay, so those people obviously will have to go to other jobs. For example, exactly creating, assembling, and so on the self-driving cars. Okay, instead of driving them. Okay, but that's one concern. But there are lots of concerns with people, things like humanity, how machines will affect our behavior, our interaction in the future. We are getting to the start of an age where, for example, we are going to frequently interact with machines as sometimes as they are human because they talk to us, they have feelings, and what is going to happen to humanity with this? Things like artificial stupidity. How can we guard against mistakes made by people that supposedly are trying to use AI, but it's a pseudo AI? They don't know what they are doing. Okay, and probably they put systems learning not the right patterns, but learning stupid things and act using the things that they learn because how to eliminate AI bias. Bias against black people, against against minorities, but humans are also biased. So security, obviously, we have really a powerful technology that, as nuclear technology and other technologies, must be secure, and we have lots of problems with that. And problems with the singularity. How can we control this kind of complex systems? And if humans dominate the world because really due to our intelligence, not because we are faster, bigger, stronger than animals, but because we create and use tools and really we use cages, weapons, cognitive tools, we train each other and so on. But artificial intelligence is getting to a point that probably will do it one day and and artificial intelligence can have the same advantage over us. And then can we pull the plug and disconnect a system that is more intelligent than humans?
That is one of the biggest fears, one of the narratives around artificial intelligence is the fear that it will become something that will basically be responsible for deciding what humans will have to do. Do you think this is a possibility?
Yeah, it's the singularity in general. That point really, when human beings probably are no longer the most intelligent beings on Earth, and so it's a big concern. Another concern related to that is robot rights or intelligent machine rights. How we are going to define the treatment of intelligent systems. Once we consider that machines can perceive, can feel, can act in an intelligent way, we have to think about their legal status. Should be treated like animals of comparable intelligence? And if they are more intelligent than animals, more intelligent than humans, should they be treated like humans? So that's also a big concern for the future.
Those are definitely some very interesting topics, and there is surely a lot to talk about that. And I'm sure we'll be revisiting this throughout the program. But what do you wish everyone knew about AI?
Again, lots of things. Really, not everything that seems to be AI is AI. It's a buzzword that sells, artificial intelligence. Okay, although people are getting a little bit tired of only hearing about AI, but beware that not anything that has AI on its name is AI. Not everything that claims to be AI is AI. And that hurts and the trust and credibility of the things that are really AI. We sometimes call them the new Christians to the people that do AI, but we know they are not doing any AI. They don't even know what is AI, but there are lots of companies, and in Portugal, lots and lots of companies that, okay, do lots of AI, but I never seen a paper, an algorithm created by any of those, a system, okay, they are not using AI, but also that AI is not just deep learning, because now we think that machine learning is everything, deep learning is going to solve everything, but the AI term was coined back in the 50s, and there are lots of things about AI from that are not only neural networks, deep learning. There is symbolic AI, planning, robotics, natural language processing, search algorithms, genetic algorithms that are doing for lots of very interesting things. We just relate AI with deep learning, but AI is not just deep learning, okay? And there are lots of other things that I think people should know. For example, that AI is a scientific discipline, but also engineering technology in general. Basically, that enables to build useful applications to improve people's well-being. And lots of the confusion about what is AI or not is because we are mixing these two perspectives. Because AI can be really a very interesting, useful technology in the form of applications that you use, but also we have the scientific part in which really AI may solve some of the mysteries of human nature, like what is intelligence and how the brain functions, how really we can create a intelligent brain. And that's also quite interesting. And that lots of new jobs, AI-related jobs, will come in the next year. So AI is going to create lots of jobs. It's going to destroy lots of jobs, but also create lots of jobs. So what happens? People must search AI now, because if they want to work in the future, they probably will work in some AI-related subject.
So that means that we also need to work on people's scientific literacy to make them actually understand what we're talking about and to promote their knowledge so that they can make more informed options. And what advice would you give to technological and scientific entrepreneurs and researchers working in the field of AI?
Well, probably lots of advices, but the main advice is go for it, basically. AI is the future, is already the present, but is the future for sure. So any company without AI, not just the use of AI, but the research and development of new AI technologies is doomed to failure now. So we need AI. Our governments and public administration in general need AI, because without AI, they will cost 2 times more than using AI on systems. On our public administration systems and government systems in general. So basically, go for it. It's time to really create and spend some money creating interesting projects, interesting AI projects, because they certainly will flourish in the future and will enable companies to really get bigger and get stronger, and also public administration, government in general, to get really stronger and cheaper.
Thank you so much for this very interesting talk, which I'm sure could easily go on for a lot longer. But today, this is what we have to share with our participants and with anyone who is watching us in any parts of the world. And thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Thank you very much again for the invitation. It was a pleasure participating.
Thank you.